All right, it's 7 p.m. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I get approval of the agenda, please?
So moved.
Support?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, we do not have anyone here from Student Council this evening. Do we have any public participation? All right, seeing none, we will move on to information and discussion. And we have Ann Gray here who's going to talk with us about a field trip request.
This is a field trip request, similar to the one that, well, just like the one I had last year, to the Michigan Association for the Education of Young Children. I don't even know how many students I took last year, and they presented at this conference. They did wonderful. I was just at a conference meeting with other teachers that teach this class, and one of the teachers there said to me, my kids were so excited that your kids presented last year, so they are presenting this year at the conference. And I'm like, yay, I set a standard. This year, my students are going to present a poster, and it's when I play, whatever they play, I learn this. So that when somebody walks by and looks at the poster, they can explain that, as children are playing, this is how they're learning, that play is important. I have 20 students that I'm planning on taking this year. It's at the end of April. Forgive me about the dates. There's been so much going on, I don't remember what the dates are. But that's what this trip is going to be. It's up in Grand Rapids. And again, it's for professional early childhood teachers, and our students are going. And I'm so happy to say that the MIAC organization has decided to pay for all my students to go. All teachers in the state of Michigan that teach this program to go, and their students, and they're providing a free lunch to us this year, which is the first time they've ever done this. So I'm very excited, and so is the state. So,
Awesome.
yes.
Any questions for Ann?
No, thanks for your dedication. Okay.
Oh, it's great. I love the conference. The kids have a lot of fun. There's a lot of things that they learn. And it's not something that we do in our classroom. These are things that they learn from other teachers, and there's hands-on things that they can actually learn up there. So things that they can take with them, then come back and actually use them in the classrooms that they're in. So very exciting for them.
No, I think this is a great opportunity. Have you had students that have gone into the field of education?
I have a lot. My assistant and I have been tracking them for about last 10 years. I've had Darla Palmera, I can't say her last name. She was a former student of mine. Connie Sailors is a former student of mine, and they both were here. I have two in Southgate school districts right now, and they have taken former student or present students of mine, and I have one in Flat Rock that now has a present student that they're working with. So yes,
I'm coming.
yes, it's very exciting. So,
And thank you for taking them, and thank you for everything that you do for the program. We really appreciate it.
well, thank you.
Right, anything else? Perfect. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Okay, so next we are going to have an update on the current bond bids. And, just a reminder, and for folks at home as well, we had a special meeting about this last week, so we got to talk a lot to you. And then you all were available for individual questions that we had as we were looking over more information. So thank you for all of that. But I have asked Brian and Colin to give us a quick summary of what we discussed last week, and then any new updates, because things are changing a lot as well. So I asked the board that we just hold questions till the end, and then we'll have plenty of time for discussion once we hear from you. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Like Mr. Nova said, we have an initial recommendation for the Grosse Ile Elementary additions and renovations. We also have Brian Donovan with DeMarais, he's the construction manager here, and Rich Briannick with the collaborative, the architect for the project, for any technical questions. So we publicly bid this project through the normal process, held pre-bid meetings, and then we did receive 79 proposals for 28 different bid categories. Then we held interviews afterwards to vet all of the scopes. The recommendation tonight is for 17 of the 28 bid categories. The hard construction total would be $8,844,228. The construction management fees and costs of $1,557,089. And construction contingency of $728,092 for a total award recommendation of $11,129,409. Any initial questions on the bid categories? This includes all of the categories we need to get this project started and keep the project on schedule. As Ms. Tanova alluded to, there are some bid categories that we are rebidding due to what the market showed us, redesigning a couple efforts, especially with the roof. We feel that we have a very good plan in place to remedy these issues and continue the project and bring it in within budget.
Good.
Okay. No questions? All right, thank you.
Sorry, we're going to move on to the high school graduation requirement modification. I'll turn it over to Val.
Yeah, and I'll take it. Mrs. Kalis is in Washington DC with our eighth graders. So we're bringing forth a recommendation. We did talk to the board curriculum committee about this. This is a need to change or modify the high school graduation requirements for Grosse Ile High School due to, for dual enrollment purposes. When the high school moved from a 7-period day to a 6-period day, they did change the graduation requirements, but we need to specifically alter the elective portion of it. So we're recommending the language that you have in your board packet that will allow students to take dual enrollment courses for college credit only in lieu of electives outside the Michigan Merit curriculum requirement, and then still be able to graduate with a Grosse Ile High School diploma. So one of the recommendations from board member Gaddy during the curriculum committee is that we added some language to be more clear about the fact that the 18 credit Michigan Merit requirement is in effect with this, that is the minimum, and then the rest can be made up with dual enrollment or elective courses.
There's still 18 credit hours then, as far as minimum to get through, and then this will be.
Yeah, 18 graduation requirement of courses, and then this, so right now we have 24, and so this will allow some flexibility for students to take dual enrollment courses. Right now, the way the graduation requirements are written, a student could only take one dual enrollment course and still graduate. So if they were to take 2 dual enrollment courses for college credit only, they would not have enough time here in the 6-period day to actually get a Grosse Ile diploma. So it's limiting them more than what we want for our students.
And this is a specific issue with the dual enrollment in direct college because they're taking classes for college.
College credit only. Yes, if they take so when a student dual enrolls, in dual enrollment, they have the option to take college courses for high school and college credit, or for college credit only, they get to make that choice. For direct college, it's college credit only. We're not issuing any high school credit, and we don't want it to be in competition with our own courses. And so, yeah, so if they choose dual enrollment and a student takes it for high school credit and college credit, they would be okay with the graduation requirements as is, but if they wanted to do it for college credit only, they would have some issues. One of the things that we know is transferability is really impacted by whether or not a student takes it for college credit only or high school and college credit. There's a lot of transfer issues when they're taking it for dual credit.
Got it, but these U of M courses, I was asked that question. They will get college credit for that, for most Michigan colleges, as far as we know?
Yeah, they have to, we don't want to make any promises, but
Right.
we have already confirmed it, that U of M and Ann Arbor will take the University of Michigan. And U of M and Ann Arbor has traditionally been the one that has had the most problems transferring. But Andrea Deshawn put together a whole document. In fact, we'll get it up on the website, where she's actually crosswalked every single Michigan, not every single, but probably 40, and looked at the transferability. And so we can upload that. So they're largely transferring.
All right, from far as we know, Grand Valley, Michigan State, that
Yes,
type of stuff.
yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other questions on this?
Nope, makes sense.
Okay. We'll move on then to the middle school boiler, and I'll turn it over to Mike and Linda.
Good evening, everyone. So on February 26th, we had the bid opening for the boiler replacement at Groseal Middle School. We had 3 bids come in from Detroit Metro Mechanical, Detroit Boiler, and Monroe Plumbing and HVAC. And the winning bid went to Detroit Boiler Company, and total amount of $201,000, $201,085.68. That was the low bid, and that's who, we used UBS to help us put this bid out, and that's who they're recommending as well for the project. And they'll be replaced with Airco brand boilers, which are what we have throughout the rest of the district and have had good life out of them and good use, so.
What is the life expectancy of a boiler, if you?
Well,
off the top of your head?
usually it's about 20 years, yeah. Yep, 15, 20 years, yeah, generally. But Airco is what we have in all the other buildings that we put in mostly with the last bond, so, yep.
You know what the warranty is on it?
Hold on one second. Yeah, it's in the board brief, yeah. Airco, yeah. Yeah, I attached it. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but. And that was the brand that Mike from UBS was comfortable with recommending as well, that we use, so,
And that's sinking fund money, correct?
correct.
Any other questions for Mike? All right.
Good.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay, you're very welcome.
We'll move on to the E-rate bids, and Chase is going to walk us through that. Chase or Linda? Sorry.
I'll
Okay.
start off.
Okay.
How about that?
Sorry.
All right.
Thank you.
So we had actually 3 RFPs going out for the technology. We had network electronics, structured fiber cabling, and structured cabling. There was not a mandatory walkthrough, but that was done on February 9th. And Chase there were, how many? 3 or 4 people that had bidders that walked through, and then those bids were due and opened on February 23rd. We did a post-bid meeting with the 3 bidders, and this is where you're going to have to jump in, on the structured cabling, structured fiber cabling. We had to go out for rebid because there was kind of a misunderstanding or a miscommunication on the fiber that was going from the high school to the concession stand. So you can kind of explain that.
Essentially, what happened was we had to rebid for the fiber run from the high school to the press box because it was initially planned that we were going to run fiber from the high school networking closet to the press box area as one single run. However, we need connectivity to both the press box and the concession area. And to do that, we're basically going to put a foothold outside of the press box area, and we're going to have fiber run to each separate location. But in doing that, we had to rebid because that wasn't initially planned for. It was initially just going to be one run, and now it's an extra one. So it's an extra 20 feet added onto it. It shouldn't really change that much, but that was the one major change that we didn't address initially.
Fair enough.
So we did get, of the 3 that bid, 2 of them actually sent back rebids, so, and you'll see that in your board packet. For the network electronics, Intercomp was the low bid. They weren't the low bid, but they are the bid that we are recommending at $395,236. And the reason why we didn't go with the low bid was that they did not use Meraki products. They were offering to use Ruckus, and again, if he wants to jump in, he can jump in, but Ruckus is no longer being supported by RISA, and we are slowly, actually, we're fully going to go and start using Meraki products. So it was, and Intercomp was the dealer that they get the bid for the product for Meraki, so.
Yeah, so for our network electronic bids, Intercomp was the best by far for two major reasons. One was Meraki versus Ruckus. My company, RISA, uses all Meraki products around all of the districts we support, so it's going to make service infinitely easier for us if we use that product. So that's in step one. And then reason two is that Cisco, the company that we're going to be using for our switches and the rest of our hardware, has a very specific way that they go about selling their products. And the way that they do that is based similar to a first come, first serve, but depends on the company. Intercomp, because they were one of the first people to go through this Cisco deal, ended up getting about half off of the products that they're selling. So Cisco only does that for a few companies, and it kind of limits the competition severely. So they were about half the total cost of the rest of the bidders. So kind of a no-brainer for us. We also don't really have much of a choice. So that's where we ended up.
And then the next one was structured cabling. Nerds Express is the low bid at $67,529.48. And then the last one, as mentioned, was the structured fiber cabling, which we did go out for the rebid. And Nerds Express is also the low bid on that one at $23,899.40. Also in your board packet, we show the base bid compared to the budget. For the network electronics, we are going to be using E-rate money, and we have a total usage of E-rate dollars, $282,698. We get 40% of that. So $113,079.20 will be used for that network electronics, reducing the bond amount to $282,156.80. So when you're looking at that, the total base bid was over budget, but with the E-rate dollars, we're under budget by $73,450. Structured cabling, the base bid, as we mentioned, was $67,529 compared to the budget of $59,268. We are over budget by $8,261. And then structured fiber cabling, again, Nerds Express bid was $23,899 compared to the budget of $18,736. We are over budget by $10,228. Total package, we are under budget by $54,961. And again, that's using the E-rate dollars. So this will be brought to, for approval at the board action tonight. Okay. Any questions? Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so the next thing on the agenda is a board business update. This is something that I asked to be added to our meetings. It will typically be in a work session, but since we only have one meeting this month, I wanted just a space for us to talk about any admin things or things that we need to discuss as a board. So I have two quick updates for you. The first, Scooter and I were talking about how to better support the goal, the board in the goal of making sure that we attend at least one extra event around the district a quarter, and just helping to keep us better informed about what's happening. And so what we decided we would try to do is actually have Robin send out calendar invites for major things happening in the district, including sports and just different things around the schools. So you're going to start getting calendar invites later on this week. I didn't want you to get them without knowing why. When you get them, though, if you can please just make a choice, either, yes, no, maybe, so we kind of can see where we have coverage. And then if there's a event that we really strongly feel there needs to be board representation at, we can make sure that we have that. And then the other thing that Robin and I are working on is updating the orientation materials for new board members. So we will have that by mid-April. And what we decided to do was to create a Google Drive that all the board members have access to. That orientation packet will go into it, as well as the board calendar, so that anyone can have access to those at any time. And so when we have that, you will all get the invitation for the Google Drive, and you can see the orientation. Please feel free to look it over and give us your feedback. But we're just trying to kind of formalize that a little bit more. So, yeah. And Suzanne and I started that last year too. So it's taken a little while, but we're getting it together. So, anything else, Scooter?
No, I think that's good. It's, we talked about, the first part you just talked about, the Google, or that Robin's gonna be sending out with the events on the calendar. That's something that came about in our retreat, was that 2 years ago, is when we said we were gonna start trying to attend one event each quarter. So I think this is a good way to put it in front of our face, and we know what's actually happening in the district.
All right. So we will move on to board committee reports, and the first one that we have is buildings and grounds.
All right. Buildings and Ground Committee met on Tuesday, March 5th. You heard kind of a little bit about already what went on, but we reviewed over the, and talked about the bids that came out, and just went through a lot of that, and just had an opportunity to ask questions and look at and make different opportunities with that. We also talked about the roofing a little bit, and where and how we were going to take a look at that. And as they're continuing to work on it, they're going back and looking at numbers and talking with their people, and they came back with some recommendations for us to look at, and we are continuing to look at that, and just went through all the bids from there. You already heard most of it.
Thanks. Any questions for Jeff? All right, we'll move on to curriculum.
Curriculum Committee met last Monday, March 4th, at 8 a.m. We meet that first Monday of each month, and Val had already highlighted on this earlier. We were just talking about the change in the graduation requirements for those that are in the dual enrollment or college courses. Jeff or John, anything to add on?
All right, we will move on to finance.
Finance Committee met on Thursday, March 7th. Geneva Reeves joined us to take us through some potential cost savings measures that could be implemented in transportation. So we reviewed that and the potential impact of that as a future potential. Chase Colligan took us through and Linda through the E-rate bids, and the committee supports moving forward with those as presented. Mike Grima took us through the middle school boiler. Again, we support moving forward with that recommendation. Linda Drizga also took us through some potential healthcare costs and projections for next year, and proposals for cost reduction in the future, and understanding what those cost savings measures may look like. We reviewed briefly the playground bids that came in for Park Lane. They came in under budget, and we'll be reviewing those in a future meeting. Another topic that came up in finance was how we allocate funds for building improvements like office furniture and some of our conference rooms that could use some love. So there is, we talked about having a line item for that in budgets, but additionally there are money in the bond for this as well. A while ago, the board had discussions on potential alternate revenue streams. We revisited that and decided let's table it as a discussion item for the retreat. So we'll revisit in August and get some feedback from the board. We also talked about doing a board fundraiser. just for some things where we could use funds for teacher appreciation or, instead of being out of board members' pockets. So that's something we'll discuss we had some ideas and we'll discuss it at a future work session. And then Superintendent Orr gave a brief overview of some potential future cost savings opportunities that we can review as we look at budgets going forward. So I think that covered it.
Thank you. And the retreat is actually in July.
July, thank you, sorry.
Close. Thank you, Katie. Any questions for Katie? Okay, and then we have GIEF.
GIF, we met March 4th. I was liaison for that. The financial report looked good. They have almost quite a bit of money in the bank right now. They have 2 grants from the school that came on the agenda. One was for the STEM robotic Legos request. They were asking for just under $30,000. This included notebooks, registration materials, computers, and anything that needed to run the program. Shar Delaney was present to answer any questions, and she did a great job. She really did. There was strong support from the GIF board. Both Stevensons were very familiar with the program and very positive, very supportive. They did ask Shar how she might advertise this program, what was funded by GIF, and she had lots of examples of putting it on the T-shirts, banners, and posters, and they were pleased to hear that. The board asked if Shar could take a lot of pictures and return a year from now with some students, maybe to show how the whole thing went. The second grant was asked for sunglasses for all students to watch the eclipse in April. The biggest concern was the clouds. They were concerned that it might be a rainy or cloudy day. And they looked in to see if they could return the glasses. That was probably not possible, and they certainly didn't. We were pretty clear that we didn't want that a contingent that they could. They were going to try themselves if they could, but they understood the fact. And in the end, voted for it and thought it was a good idea. There was asked several GIF board members to attend the upcoming kindergarten roundup, and they had a few people volunteer, and they also talk about the next fundraiser they would have, whether it would be spring or fall. Fall seemed to be the preferred, but nothing was decided at this time. It's a good meeting.
Great.
Yeah.
And thanks to GIF for that support, and congratulations to the teachers and for who put forth those grants. Any questions for Dan? All right, let's move on to consent grouping. Can I get a motion, please?
I move that the Grosse Ile Township Schools Board of Education approve the consent grouping items as presented.
Support.
And this is for the payment of the bills for the period of February 1 through February 29, 2024, in the amount of $1,771,484.80, and the approval of the February 27th regular meeting minutes and March 7th special meeting minutes.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries. All right, we'll move on to action items. Can I get a motion for the personnel update?
No, personnel.
Personnel, yeah.
I'll do it. I do the next one. I move that the Grosse Ile Township Schools Board of Education approves the personnel update as presented.
Support.
We have new hires of Brooke Fick for the school counselor at the high school and Michelle Holt for food service worker, level 3. We have resignations of Linda Ellison, parapro, Zachary Dieters, mechanic, Ashley Jones, food service, and Alexandria Davis, teacher.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries. Now we'll move on to the overnight field trip. Yeah.
Move that the Grosse Ile Township Schools Board of Education approve the overnight field trip as presented.
Support. The MIAC conference that Ann presented on this evening.
That was going to be from April 17th to April 20th.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries. All right, we will move on to the high school grad requirement modification.
Move that the Grosse Ile Township Schools Board of Education approves the changes as presented.
Support.
And this is what Val talked about earlier this evening.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries. We'll move on to the middle school boiler.
I move that the Grosse Ile Township Schools Board of Education approves the purchase and installation of the middle school boiler as presented.
Support.
And as discussed earlier this evening, Linda Drizga and Mike Grima are recommending that we approve Detroit Boiler Company for the purchase and installation of 2 boilers at the middle school. Purchase was through the public process, and the total purchase is for $201,085.68. The purchase price was the initial bid of $270,779.00 with a voluntary alternative deduct of $69,711.32 for purchasing the Airco boilers versus the Evo boilers. And sinking fund dollars will be used for this purchase and installation of the boilers.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries. All right, can I get a motion for the resolution for technology RFP?
Move that the Grosse Ile Township Schools Board of Education approve the Network Electronics SC and FSC as presented.
Support?
This is what the network electronics coming in at $395,236. Structural cable from Nerds Express, $67,529.48. Structural fiber cable at the field house and concession stand that you mentioned for $23,899.40.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries. Can I get a motion for the bid package resolution?
I move that the Grosse Ile Township Schools Board of Education approve the bid package as presented.
Support.
And I'm going to go through these each,
No, I don't.
Me too, no.
just the total.
Yeah.
Okay, for a grand total of $10,401,317 for the Park Lane, the first 17, the staffing, general conditions, insurance, construction fees, and contingency.
Any further discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries. All right, we will move on to the superintendent update.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I just have a couple items. We are having our kindergarten information night on March 20th at 6 p.m. So if you know of any kindergartners out there, incoming kindergartners, please share that with them. Also want to thank Mrs. Parsons and the Park Lane staff for always doing such a great job with that. Just want to say hi to our Washington, D.C. Students who are out there, 8th graders, and then their chaperones and the middle school staff who work really, really hard to make sure that that really special memory happens every single year for our students. So I'm getting pictures and updates, and Mr. Trompka's doing a great job of putting some things online too so that we can see it on Facebook. So just wanted to say hi to them and make sure that the adults that are on that trip and plan that trip know how much we appreciate them for doing that. I want to wish congratulations on all the success of our winter sports teams. We had a really, really successful winter sports season, and a lot of our students had a lot of postseason play and did a great job in the postseason. And I believe spring sports started this week, so looking forward to that. And then finally, I wanted to thank the GIEF for approving the grant for the Eclipse classes. We're excited. Our staff are planning activities throughout the district, and this is just a really cool thing that we can do district-wide, kindergarten through 12th grade. So I appreciate the GIEF for supporting that grant, and they're funding the money to make sure that we buy Eclipse glasses for every single student in the whole district. So some of our students will still be in session during the full eclipse, mainly our elementary students. Our middle school and high school students will be home, so they can use the glasses at home, but we have science teachers that are talking about it in class, and it'll be a fun day for students. So I wanted to thank the GIEF for supporting that cause, and then obviously the robotics grant as well. So that's all I have.
Okay, great. So we are now going to move into closed session for collective bargaining strategy. Can I get a motion to move into closed session, please?
I move that the Grosse Ile Township Schools Board of Education move into closed session pursuant to MCL .268, Section C.
And I need everyone's vote on this.
Yes.
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 Okay, great.